wish you could see me jamming in the background, that music. Hello. Hi, my name is Laken. I go live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you're new here, if you are some of our old friends that I see every week, hello, welcome. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Let's kick it off with our first question that we always start with, which is, what is one small win that you have to share from the last week? If you're here live, please say hello in the chat. Say hello and share your win. You know, the win doesn't have to be big. Something is better than nothing. Small progress is still progress. My win is that I felt like I actually rested on vacation. So I decided at the very last second not to take my laptop. And then I was like, anything I need to do, I can do on my phone. And then my service was just awful. It was so bad. And it was in and out. Some apps worked, some apps didn't. And then they would change their mind the next day. It was just all over the place. And then I also had packed workout clothes. I was like, when Lila naps, I'm going to work and then I'm going to work out and all these things. You know what I did when Lila napped? I read a book. I laid by the pool and Sam stayed with her in the room. I took a nap one day. Like, I actually rested and I came back feeling like, even though, don't get me wrong, traveling with the toddler is still sometimes not vacation and it's just parenting in a different place, it was still very rejuvenating. And I also slept great every night because I basically would go to bed when she went to bed. And I mean, I didn't sleep the same number of hours that she did, but I slept a lot of hours and it was lovely. So that is my win. Let's get to the comments and see what some of your wins are. I paid off my car this past week. I saw that in the community call wins yesterday. I'm so excited for you. Hello from snowy Florida. I know the weather right now is just, it's actually flurrying here too. I don't know that you can tell that with the lighting though. Finished your 5th book of the month. That's amazing. I actually just finished my 4th. So I'm not quite, and some of those books you finished are huge. February goals done. Mine too. Just cleaned out a whole bag of stuff from your office. It's a snowy day today from the cold. Finished a book and updated a reading journal. You were in America all week. Oh my gosh, Joanna. Hi. That's so fun. Finished your first book. So many reading. Have not been to the lives in a long time. I'm so excited that you're here. Nursery is review. I cannot wait for your win one time, Brittany, to be like, I have a child, another one. I had a baby. Survived being sick. I hope you feel better soon. Decluttered my bedroom and took donations. Isn't that the hardest part? We had this giant stack of donations and I had just for whatever reason decided that our dining room table was a really good place to like store all of the things we needed to take to donate. And then when we decided last minute to have people over to watch the Texas game, I was like, I have to get this stuff off the table. And so I was like, Mom, we need to take this stuff. We need to go donate it. And she was like, okay, but it's supposed to snow all day. And I was like, well, that's not helpful. So I literally just carried it all back here and it's in the back of the apartment. I still haven't taken it. So I gotta figure that out. February 3rd, you begin a new job position for your church. Congrats. That's so exciting. Completed your first trip of 2025. You went to Legoland. Oh my God, that's so fun, Monique. Oh my gosh. Excited to be on your live. It's been a while. Welcome. Excited to have you. Y'all, so good. Okay, let's jump in with our monthly goal check-in. So every week, I share with you where I'm at with my goals, and here's where we are at with January goals. I obviously haven't finished packing, hence, like you can see the shelves behind me, but they're going down as soon as this live is over, and haven't started unpacking because we haven't moved yet. The ordering of the desk, I also filmed my goals video today, so I don't want to get too repetitive with the things that I said in that video, but I haven't ordered my desk yet. That's not happening until we move. I did let go of Lila's shadow box. I'm going to wait and do that until after we've moved. In terms of the weekly stuff, the 30 minutes of creative time has been going great. The workouts have been hit or miss. I slept funny like 2 weeks ago, and I was down for the count for a long time. And it was so frustrating because in the time that I slept funny and woke up with this, it felt like my whole upper back was in pain. And there was just like nothing I could do except like stretch and win time. And in that time, my sister did the same thing and healed hers, and mine was still hurting. And I'm like, this is what being 9 years apart looks like. That is called being in your 20s and being able to heal quickly. I am in my 30s and it took time. So that kind of took me out a little bit in terms of working out, but I feel like I'm back on track. I actually started a Peloton like strength program this week. Daily stuff has been going well. Packing is not I missed a lot of days. I was out of town, but I have averaged at least one box a day. So that feels really good. And the rest of them are all going really well. Doesn't mean that I'm not carrying them over into February, which obviously you'll see when I share my February goals, but feeling good about my goals so far for the month. Okay, really quick before we move into the topic of the week, I want to quickly share. So 2 weeks ago on the live, I shared the details about the in-person event. And so these are the details. If you missed that, I talk way more in depth about it. It's the weekend of August 9th and 10th. It is here in Chicago where I live. It's going to be a handful of different components. There's going to be a lunch for community members on Saturday, followed by a birthday party that everybody is invited to. The birthday party is a ticketed event. The lunch for the community members, you do need a ticket to go to the lunch, if that makes sense. But it is not its own separate thing. I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but just FYI. And then there will be stuff in the evening for Sisters Like Us listeners, which is the podcast I have with my sister, or anybody who wants to come to the evening stuff. And then we'll do a casual picnic where family, friends, anybody you brought with you is invited. Anybody you brought with you is welcome to the other stuff as well. They just will need a ticket for the birthday party because there is a capacity. And the birthday party, here's the summary of that, is on Saturday afternoon from 1 to 4. There will be drinks, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic options, and dessert. And of course, a goodie bag. It's not a birthday party without a goodie bag. And the ticket price for that is $40. And so I want to make sure that you have the information for when those tickets are going to go on sale, which is going to be basically in like a week and a half. So on February 1st, community members will get first dibs at the ticket. So the link will go live for them on February 1st. And then anybody that is on the wait list will get the link on Sunday, the 2nd. And then if there's any left, which there could be, I honestly have no idea what to expect. There are so many of you that the wait list number is not at our capacity, if that helps. So even if every single person on the wait list bought one, we still have space. So I'm anticipating there still being tickets on Monday, and then I will release them to everybody. But if you are remotely interested, whether you are interested in coming to Chicago or you live around here and it's easy for you to get here, I would get on the wait list. You don't have to. Being on the wait list does not require you to buy a ticket at all. You just will get the link sooner. I think I forgot to put the wait list in the description box. So it'll be there after the live is over if you're watching the replay. So that's the details. Any questions on that? Your win, a morning routine complete 21 days. Shannon, that is amazing. Oh my gosh. I am also so excited. I am so excited to see so many of you that I've met before, to meet so many of you. Oh my gosh. Okay, Brittany, send me a DM. Send me an email. Give me a way to contact you. I'll make sure that you don't miss it because I know you are within driving distance and you are a constant member of the live. So send me a message. I'll make sure that you don't miss it because you're literally birthing a human, which is, I was just watching an Instagram reel yesterday that was like, women deserve badges of honor for what they go through. It's amazing. It is amazing what women go through to bring humans into this earth. And somebody was like, so one of the comments was like, that's because if the future of our species I'm not going to phrase it properly, but it was dependent on men, we would have gone extinct or something like that. Like if men had to be pregnant, give birth, and breastfeed. Yeah, what would that say? Okay. Men are amazing. We need them. Those of us that are in relationships with them and biologically, we do need them, but this is nothing against them. Okay. Where's the up? Where's the click? The click up. Okay. The topic this week. This is so funny. I had originally planned this live thinking we'd be moving tomorrow. So our original move date was tomorrow, January 23rd, but we had to push it back a week for a couple of reasons. And you would think in my head that we pushed it back a month. We pushed it back in the end of December maybe. And after some conversations with my contractor, after we found some stuff and added some stuff to our pre-move-in renos, we pushed it back. And also my dad's coming to help, and it worked out much better for him to come next weekend to help with the move. So all that said, my brain was like, oh, we have so much time. Like, we had 1 week, and I kept putting off packing and putting off packing. I'm finally making progress, but you would think in my head we pushed it off a month. So life feels very chaotic for us right now. So I wanted to do a video on that, goals when life is chaotic. And the question we ask ourselves, should we even have goals? Should we even have goals when life is feeling chaotic? For us right now, that includes renovations, and whether that's picking stuff out, which is so tough right now. I'm trying really hard to balance like looking at all the options, but also like making a decision and just keep moving forward with renovations. The trip that we took, all the planning that went into that, and then being gone with crummy service. We've had lots of various events as well. We had show tickets that were not in our control. I mean, they are, because we buy like the package, but the dates that our tickets are for are very much not in our control. And then we had an event on Saturday night for my husband's office. And then we have an event tonight for the trip we're going on in March. We're going on a trip. The trip we're going on in March to Argentina is with a company, with a program. And they have like, there's a meet and greet tonight for all the couples that are going on the trip. And so like, it's just all these things that were like not in our control to be planned. And then of course, moving and packing and moving and all those things. So life feels super chaotic. And so the question is, when you feel this way, whether you're in this moment or not, because maybe you're not in a season of chaos, maybe you just came out of one, maybe you have one upcoming. Sometimes chaos is planned. No, I'm not trying to edit it. And sometimes it's not, right? Sometimes you know it's coming and you can anticipate it. And sometimes you can't, and it just happens. Sometimes it's what you expect, right? It's planned and you're like, this is what that's going to feel like. And sometimes it's not, and it feels completely new to you. It's still chaos. It's still chaos. And that's still going to have an impact on so many areas of your life, whether it's impacting your time or not, whether it's impacting your energy or not. Frankly, regardless, it's going to take up mental space in your brain. Chaos is one of those things that's like you can interchange different words here, right? For chaos, but it's kind of like change. It's the only thing constant is change. Like we are going to have seasons where life is going to happen, and there's going to be times that life feels chaotic to you. So regardless of what your chaos is, that doesn't matter. What is causing the chaos in your life or will cause someday, expected or not, I'm going to give you some options for when it comes to goals. This is not you have to do this. It's not a prescribed, these are the choices. There is no right answer. I want you to do what works best for you. I want you to pick the thing on the list that works best for you in that moment. And it might be different for different types of chaos, right? Pre-planned chaos like this for us moving is very different than like the postpartum chaos that Brittany's about to experience. The postpartum chaos of your first baby is going to be very different from the postpartum chaos, I'm assuming, of your second baby. I'm not pregnant. It's not an announcement. It's just a comment as I sip my second very large cup of coffee. But not only do you have this newborn and you're healing and all the things, then you have this toddler or elementary school age or even high schooler that you also have to parent. So I want you to pick what works best for you for that type of chaos that you are going through. But I'm going to give you 5 options, 5 things to think about. So number 1, option 1 is you can put your goals on pause. Guess what? You can stop. I am not going to sit here and tell you that you have to have goals all the time. You do not. If you need a break from goals, whatever the reason is, that's okay. That is not quitting. That is not giving up. You are not giving up. You are just taking a break. And that's okay. Sometimes we just need a break. And if taking the goals off your list is going to free up that much mental space, physical energy, mental energy, time for you, I want you to do it. I want you to take those goals off your list and take a break. This is me giving you permission to take a break. And then when you need it, I made a video that went live on January 1st about restarting your momentum. I want you to go back to that video. I want you to go back when you need to get started again. It's okay. You can take time off and you're not going to fail at goals for the rest of forever. Number 2, you incorporate what's causing the chaos into your goals. So your goals include what's causing the chaos. This is exactly what I'm doing with moving and packing, right? That was one of my goals. Moving is one of my goals. Now, you have heard me talk before that first off, there's no right or wrong way to do goals. Okay? There's no right or wrong. Most of the time for me, goals are above and beyond. It's extra. It's improvements. It's things that wouldn't happen if I didn't prioritize them to happen. That's not true for moving. We would be moving whether I put it on my goals or not. We would be packing whether it was on my goals or not. But I know that that's going to be a big component of my time and my life in this month and in the unpacking in the next month. So I'm going to include it in my actual goals. And this is totally fine, even if it's completely different from your goals. Now, this happens to fall nicely into one of my annual goals about setting up our new home. But that's also because I knew this was happening when I was picking my annual goals, right? Sometimes that it works out that way. Sometimes it doesn't, right? And you make these plans and then which spoiler alert, next week's is about when life throws you a curveball. But this is in the midst of the chaos. They probably could have been flipped a little bit. But regardless, if what's happening, what's causing the chaos doesn't fall nicely into any of your goals, that's okay. You can still make it part of your goals. That way, you're still maintaining that goal momentum. You are still checking things off and checking in with your goals and having goals be the forefront of your mind, even if all that's on that page is something totally unrelated to what you had said your goals were going to be. And it is about what is currently causing you chaos. Number 3, option 3, pick goals that support what you need right now. So what I mean by that is, again, whether this falls into your original goals or not, but as you're in this season of chaos, what do you need to support you through that? Set a goal around that support. Some examples that I came up with when I was working on this outline is, let's say you're working extra overtime at work, right? I used to work in a department of reporting. And so at the beginning of every new quarter, so from quarter close until we had to deliver our numbers on the 8th business day, I have no idea. I mean, I'm sure somebody explained it to me at one point. I don't remember, is the better phrase, why our number, by the way, there was a team of 5 of us that calculated this one number. That is chaos math and actuarial science for you. It was due on the 8th business day. So from the end of the quarter until the 8th business day, however that fell, sometimes it was, depending on where the weekend was in there. I was working a lot of hours per week. I'm not going to throw out numbers because this is not it's not the point of the story. The point is basically all I did was work for that many days. Is there something that I needed to support? Could I have set a goal to cut something else in my budget so that I could have more takeout? Could I have set a goal to then, take a day off later, as soon as it was over? There were so many things. I was not good at setting goals at this point in my life when I worked in this department. But when I think back to that time, there are so many things I could have done, so many goals I could have set to support me through that chaotic time. And that was a chaotic time I knew that was coming, right? Another example I thought of is, are you sharing a bathroom because of renovations? It's a future goal problem of mine. Set a goal to seek out a hot tub somewhere, right? Maybe it's trying out a gym for a trial period, or maybe it's your friend who lives on a high rise and there's a hot tub in their building. And by friend, I mean mom. Whatever it is, right? For me, I love baths. And so if we were going through a reno where I couldn't access my bath, maybe I would seek out a hot tub somewhere. These are just examples, right? And if this is you and you want to brainstorm, let's brainstorm examples. We can do it here live together, or you send me a DM and we can figure out what that could look like. But option 3 is picking goals that support what you need during that season of chaos. Option 4 is you just make your goals smaller. I say just. I know that's easier said than done. This is also not failing, y'all. You can make your goals smaller and still be making progress. You can make your goals smaller and still be winning and still be succeeding. This is not bad. This is not failure. This is not you giving up. Again, just like option 1, this is just you acknowledging that life is chaos and that in order to keep going, you are going to have to cut back on your goals and you're going to have to make them smaller. This is what I did for some of my goals, right? Some of my other goals right now during the season of chaos, I didn't take them off completely. I just cut back a little bit. I just decided to limit them compared to what they were before. And then option 5 is a combination, which is truthfully what you probably will end up doing and what I am doing. You can choose different things for different goals, right? Some goals on my list very much are just about moving and packing. Some goals are supporting that, right? Having that creative time on my calendar helps me right now mentally. Being able to sit down with my coloring book for 5 minutes makes a difference after spending hours, pulling out tape and packing and wrapping things in bubble wrap. That is supporting me. And then some of my goals I've just made smaller. So it's really a combination of all of the above scenarios that I've given you. What I want you to remember is when you are going through this season of chaos, whether it's 5 days or 5 months, it's temporary. Whether you can see the light at the end of the tunnel or not, whether you know that, this is when I am going to, be going back to work. And then the chaos of being at home with whatever is happening is going to look different. Or maybe it's you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like things just feel chaotic and you don't know when it's going to lift. It's still temporary. Everything is a season. Everything is a phase. Everything is literally temporary. And for my Broadway fans, according to Avenue Q, everything in life is only for now. For now. So don't put all this pressure on yourself to, in this season, figure out the new normal. I feel like that phrase got so overused in 2020 that it kind of like ruined it. So I need like a new phrase for that. But you know what I'm saying. Don't say, well, this is chaos. And so I need to figure out a new routine and a new this and a new that. No, you don't. You just need to either cut your goals, cut back on them, or only pick things that support what you're going through right now and focus on the right now. Maybe you set goals on a more short-term basis, right? Instead of setting goals on a monthly basis, maybe you're like, okay, I can't see a whole month at that far out. I'm just going to set goals on a weekly basis for now. Or maybe you're going to take it one day at a time. Either way, it is temporary and you will get through it. And there will be a light on the other side. There will be an end to the chaos. And then another form of chaos will come. I hate to break it to you, but there will be an end to the chaos and then you can move on. And then you can get back to whatever it was you were doing before. So you may feel like life is always chaotic. You might feel that way. I get it. I've totally felt that way as well. And you may feel that you never have time for goals. But I promise you that you do. I promise you that even if you feel like you don't have time, there is a little bit of something. There's a little something that you can do to make improvements on your life. It's not on the pop-up, but I say this maybe not all the time, but it's really cheesy. But I truly, truly believe this. We all deserve to live a life that we enjoy. Not necessarily that we love all the time. Not necessarily that's exactly what we envision for ourselves, but a life that you like, a life that you enjoy. And I believe that goals are how you get there. So I also believe that my goal planner is set up to support you through that chaos, regardless of your situation. And it is not too late to set 2025 goals. Whether you're watching this the day it's live on the 22nd of January, or you're watching it some other date, insert whatever time frame here. Insert 2026, insert Q3 of 2025. I don't care what the timeline is. It is not too late to set goals, and it is not too late to make improvements and make changes in your life. And the link to my planner is always in the description, but I especially wanted to point it out because I do think that it can very, very much help you in the seasons. Like I would not be like making progress on my goals without my goal planner right now. So that is all that I have to share. I'm going to hop back over to the comments. That's pretty much what I've decided for January. I don't know what I was thinking knowing that I'm an accountant in January. Exactly. Like every job has their season, right? Most jobs, there's no such thing. I need to remove the phrasing of always and every, right, from my vocabulary. Most jobs have a season. And during that season, your goals are going to be lower, maybe non-existent. It doesn't matter. There are going to be times that you need to just focus on the chaos and not worry about it. And almost all of our jobs have a time period of that, right? For me, it's like November, December. So I feel you. You can start over in February, or you can start over on Monday. Hello, it's actually a cold day here, so you're able to be here live. Oh my gosh, you probably got the cold that we had yesterday because we all had a cold day yesterday, except CPS actually already had a day off planned for the students. And so it was like a teacher work day. So they actually didn't get a cold day. And we just had a late start for daycare. A friend in a high rise with a hot tub. I mean, mom. You know what's funny about that comment though, is I thought of this idea when I was working on the outline. I think I've been in my mom's hot tub one time. Like I forget that my mom has a hot tub because my mom also has a lovely bathtub that I would just go use, but she does have a hot tub. But I always forget that it exists. Like I use the pool all the time, but I forget about the hot tub. Although we did, we took, if you've ever had a little one, you've seen there's like these little bathtub thermometers and they look like little creatures. Ours is like a panda bear. The one at my mom's is like a duck. And we took it down to the hot tub to see what the temperature was in the hot tub when I was pregnant because I really wanted to get in, but it was way too hot. So, oh well. I am also tired of negative degree weather. We're finally on the up and up like right now. By this afternoon, it was supposed to be in the 20s. I know. It's amazing. I can handle the 20s. Okay. That is all that I have. It is now, the rest of this time is yours. Where is the pop-up? We didn't even get to this last week because the topic, we just kept going, which I'm happy to do again this week if you want to chat about your goals. But this is your time. Feel free to ask anything that's on your mind. It can be about your individual goals or struggles. I promise you, somebody else is going to benefit from the answer. It's not too specific, even if you feel like it is. It could be about a topic you want to chat about. If you don't know how to phrase it into a question, you can just put topic and whatever it is, or whatever's on your mind. Maybe it's something I've shared. We are here to talk about literally anything you want to, except we are not talking about Onyx Storm spoilers. We will have none of that here. There are no spoilers happening. I have not read it. I am probably not going to read it. It is going to be a reward after we move. It's very tough. It's very tough, but that's what we're going to do. So, all right. I don't think we saw positives until like noon yesterday, but one of our Minnesota customers made that sound warm. Exactly. Today, we finally got to the positives. Sorry, my brain was reading the next comments. My kids have been off school all week and it looks like tomorrow too. Oh my goodness. I think they went back. I think everybody was in school today. I can't even crack it until February 1st. Yeah, that's me too. Mine probably won't even be until after that because that weekend I feel like I need to unpack. So I feel like it won't be until the week after that. But my be able to read it. Okay, great topic, Linda. Creating reels, tip for finding audios. So you know what's funny is I was just thinking about this. So if you have noticed, I'm posting a lot of reels on Instagram. I gave myself a challenge in December to post one a day. And I did every single day except the day we bought a house. I just posted the still photos of us with our giant key. And every other day I posted reels. And those I pretty much always had the audio there. So my biggest tips for finding audio is when you yourself are scrolling reels. And if you are not scrolling, then you might have to scroll. But I have a couple other suggestions for you. Is when you are scrolling, if you see something that you could replicate, that you could twist into your business or your concept, your topic, whatever, you save it and you have a board saved that's called Reel Ideas. That's what I have. And then when it's time to make them, I just scroll through my Reel Ideas. Now, for the longest time, that was enough for me. The amount of time scrolling and ideas that I would see, there was enough ideas in there for the number that I was posting. I recently have been hitting the end of that. And so but I don't want that to transition to more scrolling. Like I don't want to just scroll for ideas. So I actually literally yesterday Googled like how to find more ideas. So first off, this I found from somebody. This is only if you are a business Instagram account though. So I don't know if you can do this if you're not a business Instagram account, but if you go to professional dashboard on Instagram, you can scroll down and it says trending audio. And there's literally a button that says trending audio. Sorry, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this with the light. Let me turn it down. So on my homepage, this is my account, right? Professional dashboard. And then you scroll all the way down and it says trending audio. So you can click on that and it's got a bunch. Now, one of my issues though is my account, because I don't know if it's because I toggled on like the payout, which is so minuscule. It's literally like 10 cents a reel typically. It's so silly. I can't use actual songs, because that's another thing I find very simple for reels is you take video of you doing something mundane, like putting on makeup, doing your hair, washing dishes, making coffee, and you tap a trending song on it and call it a day. But I'm not allowed to use songs on my account, which I think it's because I turned on monetization, which again is so minimal. I should just turn it off. It is not making an impact on my day-to-day life. That's for sure. I had one more and now I've forgotten it. Oh, if you have an account that you like their reels, right? So if there's another account that you enjoy their reels, scroll through their old ones. So I have done this. I did this a couple times yesterday. There's a couple people I know that will post reels of like, the talking type of ones. And I just scrolled back through their old reels on their account and saved a lot of those audios. So those are like the initial ones that jump into my head. I think also the other thing I'm working on is not being afraid of it just being me talking, right? Like if I would make it into an Instagram story and it's like 30 seconds of me telling you something, why can't I just make it do a reel? I think that's like the transition of like it being a little bit more casual over on Instagram. So if you're on the professional dashboard and click inspiration, there's stuff there as well. Oh, I've never done that before. Let's try that together, shall we? Inspiration. Oh, this is cool. That's great. Great advice. I think the other thing in general about creating content, whether it's social media, YouTube, podcast, emails, whatever it is, start small. Don't try to go from creating none to creating one every day, all the time. It takes more time than you may know. And so this is maybe not just for you, Linda, but for anybody who has this question or is creating content on any kind of platform. Don't just jump from 0 to 100, right? Start with small. Start with 1 or 2. And then once you figure it out and you figure out your rhythm, then you up it, right? If you'll notice, I went from doing my, at the beginning of last year, when I was like getting back into the groove after having a baby of posting on social media, I started with 1 reel a week. That was my goal in January. And I did that for a while. And then I upped it to 2. And then December was when I decided to do 1 every day for 25 days. Now that's not, I went backwards. Like I did that just because I was doing Vlogmas. Now I went backwards and my goal is 1 thing on Instagram per day. That's my goal. If there is something else to post, like the in-person event, like the community calendar, like my goals, like a picture of Lila I really like, right? If there is something that I want to post, then I post that. If I'm not posting that, I post a reel. And so it equates to about 15 a month is about how many I create. But the other thing I have learned is I'm not sitting and creating 15 in a sitting. That's what I learned in December. That's not happening. Like I don't have that kind of capacity. So instead of it being a monthly content that I create now, it's weekly. And I do it every week. And I do, however many I need that week to get me through to the next time I'm going to work on it. And that's how I keep going. I hear you saying start small every time I get a big idea or walk on a walker in the shower. Yeah, I'm with you. Kendra from the Lazy Genius calls it big black trash bag energy. We're not going there. Okay, I'm glad other people are not like, we're not aiming for Onyx Storm spoilers. My grandkids have been out all week and a half. I know they need to go to school, but I love having them home with me. I am that grandma and was also that mom. No, I get the balance. I think I also get it. I think my mom kind of liked Lila's late start yesterday for daycare. So she got to hang out with her for a little bit. So I think I get it. Okay. I love this topic. I'm happy to talk about this, Nancy. Any tips for retirees who have no schedule? I waste my days, and same here. I have worked with some people who are retired before, and I understand that I'm coming at this from what I know standpoint, right? I've never personally experienced where I have no schedule and no structure. I mean, I do work for myself. And so before I had a baby, I did have a little bit more of an open end, but I was still working. And so I had those kinds of things that were kind of forcing me to create a structure. So my first thing to remind you is that, similar to what I just said about posting on Instagram, you are not going to go from zero schedule, what you consider wasting your days, which however you're spending your time now, whatever you're doing, to like this perfectly structured thing that is like this like ideal day, right? You're not going to just like wake up on Monday and start this ideal day. So we are going to get to whatever that looks like for you, but you're going to do that in little tiny steps. Now, in order to do that, I do want you to spend some time thinking about what that looks like or what that feels like for you. And this can be a really hard activity because it's something that you've never potentially gotten to do before, right? You've never been able to just say like, okay, I have this open-ended schedule and I get to like fill it however I want. But I want you to think about what that would look like, right? What would your ideal day look like? What time would you get up? What would you have for breakfast? What would you do with the morning? I have a video that I'll link after this live is over about going through your ideal day. But go through that and think about like, what is that? You could do the day, you could do the week. But think about what it could look like. I also then want you to think about what are some things that you would enjoy filling your time with, right? You've worked hard. You've worked hard to get to this place. And now you have this time as a retiree. What do you want to fill your days with? What makes you happy? What brings you joy? And think about what are all the things that you said earlier in your life, if I only had time, right? What were those things? Guess what? Now you have time and now you can fill those. But again, we're not jumping from like nothing to waking up and doing all of it. So once you have these options or these ideas, now you're going to start small and you're going to pick one thing to start with, right? And you're going to pick, this is the one thing I'm going to do. And you get to pick when you're going to do that. And I would encourage you, if possible, to anchor it to some sort of time in the day. So maybe it's I eat breakfast and then I do my one thing. Or maybe it's I do my one thing and then I make lunch. Or maybe it's, I do my one thing and then I take the dog for a walk. Whatever think about the things that either you are doing every day now, and like anchoring your one thing that you want to incorporate to the things that are already anchored, right? Maybe it's taking vitamins, maybe it's doing the dishes. I don't know. Do you follow what I'm saying? It's the hardest part is that you are in complete control, which is awesome and freeing, but also so much pressure. And so I want you to remember that you can always change your mind. So you don't have to pick the perfect, the best, the number one thing to like that you're going to do forever. You might try something and it clicks and it's perfect and it works. Or you might try something and it doesn't work and it's not for you and you got to try something different, right? I think there's always this pressure of like, I need to figure out I talked about this during the chaos section. There's always this added pressure of like, I need to figure out the ideal routine and setup that I'm going to do for eternity. And it's like, that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure on ourselves. And especially when you have all this open space, then there's even more pressure. You're like, well, I need to pick the right thing that I'm going to do for literally the rest of my life. Like, no, you don't. You need to pick what makes sense for you right now and try it. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, change your mind. It's almost that like, I was trying to think of like another example, but all to say, think about what you want it to look like. Also, it's you, what you want it to look like, not what society says it should look like, not what your in-laws think it needs to be, not what no, it's what you want it to be, and start small and add on from there and change your mind if it doesn't work. I've had to create a loose schedule and structure for myself during recovery time in order to not waste the day. Yeah. I think it comes down to what works best for your brain. Like some of us like a structure that is tied to a clock, right? At this time, I do this. At this time, I do that. Some of us just thrive on a structure that's general, right? I wake up and then I drink my coffee and then I make breakfast and then I read my book. And then after I read my book, I change out of my pajamas. And then and it doesn't have to be at this exact time I do this. It can be just in general. These are the things that I do. And it doesn't have it doesn't have to be the same for everybody. And that's okay. So I think I don't know, there's a lot of pressure out there on this is what it should look like. And it's like, should. I don't like that word. You're very welcome. I hope that was helpful. I know I'm coming at this from a place of like my own knowledge, but not my own experience, which is not always the case. Most of the time when I'm giving advice, I've lived it and I've experienced it. And I know that I haven't personally experienced it. So I know I don't know exactly how you're feeling. So, all right. I'm all caught up on comments, y'all. What do you want to talk about? What's on your mind? What questions do you have? What are you struggling with? Besides the giant truck making noise behind me. I don't know where it went, but I can hear it. I can hear the truck. It'll be interesting when we move. We only have one more live in this spot, y'all. I said this already, but as soon as this is over, those shelves are coming down. No, not coming down. The stuff on the shelves is getting packed. So next week's live will still be here at this apartment, but those will be empty. Oh, just crazy. But I did that. Last time we moved, if you were around, there were so many lives in 2023 that just had boxes behind me, both on the front end and on the back end until I got things set up. And that's just moving. I got to figure out what our new setup is going to be though. Cause I know I said this in a number of videos, but if you haven't heard me talk about it, I own an office in our new house. I get a desk. I will have a desk in our bedroom. But do I want the background of all my videos to be the bed? I don't know. Plus, then the windows will be behind me. So then I was like, well, I could turn and face the bed and face the windows. And so I have the light, but then I don't have like a desk. There's the truck. I don't have a place to then put my computer. So I don't know yet. I have not figured it out. Great advice for not using should. My mom says, stop shoulding all over yourself and search for your definition of right. Mm-hmm. I just don't like the word should. My ADHD has been on overload the last week, so I'm trying to get my brain to do tasks I don't love because they feel overwhelming. Most of the time, when things are feeling too overwhelming, they're too big. So can you make them smaller? Can you make them smaller and say, I don't need to clean the whole kitchen. I just need to clean 5 dishes. I don't need to, whatever it is, but don't, it doesn't need to be an entire giant step. Do you have advice for creating space in your schedule to be creative just for yourself? So the advice, yes, but the advice here applies to literally anything that you want to do for yourself. And it comes with start small and hold yourself to it. So number 1 is you are not necessarily going to be able to wake up tomorrow and insert 4 hours of a activity into your schedule. That's hard. Finding 4 hours uninterrupted, pretty much regardless of where you're at in life, is really tough. And that's just throw out that number. It's arbitrary. But finding 5 minutes is more reasonable. That is why I started small this year. And my goal, right, has been to do 30 minutes weekly of creative time. Sometimes that's been 30 minutes straight. And I've just done it for 30 minutes. 2 of the 3 weeks, that's how it looked. However, one of the weeks, it actually looked like 3 or 4 little sessions. It was like 3 5-minute sessions and 1 15-minute session or something like that. It's how I added up to that 30 minutes. So I started really small and built my way up to that. That is advice for just in general making time for yourself. Then you've got to stick to it, right? You've got to hold yourself accountable to actually not doing it, but by making it smaller, it makes that easier. The piece about creativity that makes it more complicated is, what is it that you're going to be doing? So first off, you got to know what that looks like for you, right? What is creative just for yourself? What is the activity that you're doing? Then is it an activity that you tell yourself, well, it's not beneficial if I don't have hours? If that is, most of the time, that's not the case. Most of the time, I know it's hard, but try doing a small amount of time. Try doing a smaller amount of time and see how that goes. If it truly is something that you need more hours for, maybe temporarily, until you build your way up to that, you pick a creative outlet that doesn't take up as much time. The other piece to creativity is typically supplies, right? There's typically stuff. One of the things that I knew was that if I was going to be creative and have creative, it needed to be easy. It needed to not be something that I had to like bust out a lot of supplies for, that I needed to spread out and have all this stuff, right? So for me right now, creative time is my coloring book. So it's literally my coloring book and my markers, or the piano. And that's it. That's my creative time. And those things don't require a lot of setup, right? It doesn't require a lot. I can do 5 minutes and it still feels worth it because I didn't do a lot of setup and set down. So thinking about what it is that you're doing, and when you're starting small, can you make it as easy as possible for you to set up and take down and not worry about it being this huge production? My goal is to do something creative daily, but that's unrealistic right now. Daily is a lot. A daily goal is a lot, especially if what you're doing now is 0, or even if what you're doing now is 1. Going from 1 to 7 in a week is a lot. So I would encourage you to set your goal in 1. I would definitely encourage you not to worry about daily at the beginning. Daily is a lot. Unless something is really like 5 minutes or less, daily is a really hard habit to start. So start weekly, and either start by doing number of sessions. So let go of a minute goal and just say, I'm going to do 2 creative times per week. And however long you spend is how long you spend. But remember that by starting small, you are actually going to do it. So don't write down 2 per week and then in the back of your head go 2 1-hour sessions. Like, no. And so if you find yourself doing that, it's me, I'm doing that. That's why I set a minute goal. I knew that by setting 30 minutes per week, I was more likely to not, in the back of my head, say like 2 sessions and they each needed to be 30 minutes, right? So, and then you can grow on it from there. So I would start small, know what it is that you're doing, make it as easy as possible, like the least amount of hurdles that you're trying to jump in terms of getting it out, and then you can always add more. But something is better than nothing. And that's another big struggle I feel like with things like this, is we think that if you're not doing it for hours, it's not worth it. And that's just not true. Partially, it's worth it because even that 5 minutes of me just like not looking at my phone and looking at my coloring book is so much better for me mentally than 0 minutes of it. But more importantly is I'm building that habit. I'm building that habit of relaxing and coloring and not doing whatever it is I was doing before. I'm using watercolor and have a small palette and sketchbook. So it seems like you've already made it pretty simple. Again, remind yourself that even 5 minutes is worth it. Yes, just doing a little bit of time is perfect. Okay, so start small. Start really small, like even 1 5-minute session per week, or something that feels so silly, but you are working on that momentum. You are building that skill and that commitment for yourself that you'll be able to add on to later. Hopefully that was helpful, Krista. We happy to text about it more if you want help figuring out like the exact goal for you that makes sense. But it's a good question. Okay, Monica, I like this question. Can you talk a little bit about your task block goal in HV90? I'm thinking about possibly implementing one in Q2. So a little bit of background before I actually answer the question, although I guess the background is talking about it. So if you have no idea what some of these words are, HB90 is a project management goal setting system created by Sarah Cannon of Heart Breathing. So Sarah Cannon is an author. She has a YouTube channel that is her name. That's her author channel. She also has a YouTube channel called Heart Breathings, where she talks about the business of being an author. One of the pieces of that is that she created this goal setting system. In my brain, it is a little bit more of a project management system rather than goal setting, but it absolutely works to set goals. And it is the system that I use for planning out my business. It's 90 because it's quarterly at a time. So I started using HB90 in the fall of 2022. Is that right? Yes. Oh my gosh. And my only regret is that I didn't start it sooner. So it's wow. Yes, because I left my job in fall of 21. You guys, that's crazy. So part of it is you're setting goals on a quarterly basis, which for me and my business works well. I'm not thinking about the whole year at a glance. Like, am I planning things for later in the year? Obviously, like we're planning something for August. We're planning things for later in the year, but I'm only planning my current tasks on a quarterly basis. So the backstory is when I first started HB90, I lived in New York and I didn't have a child. And so time was really not my most prized possession. I had plenty of time to work. I mean, I was working a corporate job that I didn't work anymore. So I had at least 40 hours, if not more. So what I was doing before baby was maximizing, like figuring out how many hours I could possibly work I would plan it a quarter at a time. And then I would pick projects to fill in those task blocks. And that is how I operated. And then I had a baby. And then she was born. And by the way, I mastered my system. My system worked for me. It was great. I was cruising. It was great. And then I had a baby. And all I wanted to do was be with her. And I did still want to work. I did still want to have my business. And I want we need my business to contribute to our household. But I also wanted to be with my daughter all the time. And so I found myself using my system, and instead of maximizing hours, I was minimizing hours. And I was doing the bare minimum in order to keep my business running, and it wasn't growing. I wasn't doing any of the growth things that I wanted to do. I was working the bare minimum. And that was fine for a while. But then as she started, even the problem became with, even when I would have time scheduled, whether my mom was watching her or she was napping, I would still find myself like not doing those side projects because I didn't want them to ever bleed into taking time from her. It's so silly, but it was a lot of a mindset thing. It wasn't like a practical functional of my system. It was a mindset thing. And so instead, what I decided to do was figure out the balance, right? What is the balance between hours worked and the projects that I want to do, spending time with Lila, but also growing my business? And what is that happy medium? And I found it. And then I still wasn't executing on it. I was still finding myself not doing those side projects. And I would find myself doing the bare minimum. And then like, even if, again, like she wasn't around, I would still not. It was so silly. So I decided I need to set a goal to work a certain number of task blocks. And task blocks in the HB90 system is a Pomodoro, which is typically a 25-minute work with a 5-minute break. I just do 30-minute chunks. I take enough breaks. I do a 30-minute chunk. So I set a goal to work a certain number of 30-minute chunks over the course of the quarter. Now that goal is calculated based on, I look at my schedule and I look at my projects and I do this kind of back and forth. And I explain this more in that video I did called How I Plan My Life, where I talk about my entire planning system. But basically I do a little bit of back and forth with the hours that I have to work, with the projects that I want to do, and I fill it all in. And then that's my goal. That's how many task blocks I want to work in the quarter. And theoretically, if I hit that task block goal, I will also do all those other projects, as long as my estimates are close-ish, right? They're not gonna be perfect. I'm not gonna perfectly estimate how long things are gonna take. But if they take a lot more time, then I may not hit them. But at least I will hit my task block goal. So that's kind of, I hope that helps. It really is just to encourage me to be like, you need to work on the other projects in your business besides the bare bones. So. Oh my gosh, it's already 5 minutes. Wow, time flies. I hope that was helpful, Monica. Happy to talk further with you if you want more. Okay, last question, y'all. Where is it? What is the one thing you're going to do this week to make progress on your goals? Remember that done is better than perfect. And every step adds up. So what's the one small step that you're going to take this week to make progress on your goals? Mine, I am not going to overthink packing. I am just going to do the things. And I'm just going to pack the stuff in the boxes. You have the opposite problem. You're finding yourself spending more time than on your personal goals. Okay, so maybe the task block goal needs to be for your personal goals, or the task block goal needs to be a maximum goal for you. Work on December daily, set February actions, and let go of January. Love it. Finish breaking down your last 3 goals. Let me know if you need any help. I love hearing all about your steps. Have a baby, maybe, hopefully. Fingers crossed for you. Oh my goodness. Thinking of you and your family and your health and your little one's health. Set up for February. Finish decluttering at the speed of life. Oh, so good. That book is so good, y'all. So good. Work on continuing education. Yeah, thinking that max task box is a goal. Yeah, Monica, we can talk more about that, but I think that would totally work for you. Set February goals. I love it. All right, y'all. Thank you for hanging out with me until the end. If you wouldn't mind giving this video a thumbs up, I would appreciate that. And if you did watch all the way to the end, please comment below with the box, a little box emoji. And I will see all of you next week with our empty shelves and totally ready to move. It's crazy. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out. See you next week. I almost clicked end without doing this. Wait, where's the outro?